It's a very difficult and very stressing topic in Philippine history, and very contemporary, well recorded. Most of video, photos, articles, and documents are still there. But what stresses me out is that there are certain narratives that distort. Okay,
So
that
how
actually
do you
distort.
explain that with all these materials available? Hindi naman sila nawala, hindi naman sila
Hindi nawala.
sinensor, di ba?
Yes.
So how come all this revisionist thinking is spreading? Why is it gaining traction?
Okay, it's gaining traction because one, the Philippines or Filipinos are not that, let's say, literate or when it advanced in discussing or in learning of history. Our education system, for example, only teaches history, Philippine history in grade school, and then there is no equivalent of Philippine history in the high school. And then when they go to college, if ever children go to college or step into college, that's the only time that they get to be taught history again. So there are basics that are lacking. So we have to fill in the gaps of knowledge that they have. So we don't have the capacity, or the way history is taught doesn't encourage or finds it critical thinking hard to install. That's one. Second, the spread of social media. Without critical thinking, we can believe anything that we see over social media on Facebook. And most of them, for number three, is that there are narratives being posted, fake narratives or distorted histories being posted in social media, which are actually weaponized narratives with political motivations.
But to the fake narrative, may mga sumasagot naman or wala ba?
Merong
Bakit
sumasagot,
ganon?
but of course, it's the virality, it's the emotional dynamics of social media feeding on the lack of knowledge of many of our brothers and sisters. So there, you have these people believing certain narratives without actually accounting that we have one past, but there are so many narratives that tells of our past, and we
Okay.
cannot fully understand the past.
Can we be more specific? No?
Okay.
What particular narrative, to use this word, you feel is just absolutely distorted?
Okay, the one narrative that sums it all is that the martial law during the Marcos period is the golden age of Philippine history. We cannot compartmentalize things when we view the past. So if you are talking about the infrastructure during the martial law period, of course there are lots of projects being
And
built.
they have endured, ha?
Yeah,
Yung
endured.
cultural center, yung LRT.
Yes.
Di ba mga project ni Emil
Yeah,
Dipic,
because
although...
when you destroy something,
Yeah.
you make money. When you build something, you make money again.
Yeah,
That's
yun
why a
lang
lot
ang
of corruption.
problema.
And
Oo.
then
But
that
of
was also
course-
that was also the period when there was a flooding of money from abroad. I mean, investment coming.
They were
from
borrowing
IMF,
left and
yes,
right.
left and right.
Yes.
And so that there was, you had a lot of money to show, a lot of projects to show,
To spend.
but then to spend, and then. But then later on, when Marcos started, and his cronies started pocketing a lot of this, then
Yun yung wala sa
Yung
social
wala na.
media.
Well,
so
Marcos was the American fair-haired boy at
Yeah.
the time.
The common way that the narratives are changing is that there is a comparison between the martial law period, which is based on most of our perception of that time is based on illusion caused by propaganda and the lack of free media, compared to the post-EDSA, post-martial law period, where you have a freer media, and then there were challenges to our democratization, which included lots of corruptions, things like corruption, human rights violations, conflict, which are constantly reported. Okay, so there is a comparison, but the comparison is very unfair. Okay, so people make judgment based on the time. Why they say that martial law is a golden age is because they fail to take into context that information was suppressed during that time.
But look, 6 years after EDSA, the Marcoses were back and very quickly re-embraced by high society. And in no time, back in power. How could that happen?
Yeah, how could that happen?
That happened because it was so easy in Marcos's time, because it was martial law at the time. It was so easy at the time to keep things secret. Today, it's so easy to distort things. So this is real bad luck for us. But the problem is that how do you tell these people that this is true and this is fake? You know, how do you tell, how do you convince people that something is true and something else is not?